Good morning to one and all. I am Somen Mitra, Associate Professor and HOD, Systech MBA. On behalf of Systech MBA, I welcome our today's guest, Dr. Ruchi Jain Garg ma'am. I welcome all the panelists and our dear viewers. Today we have a session entitled Modeling Customer Segmentation through RFM Analysis, and this is a technique or tool which is used mainly by retailers or marketers for deciding their targeted market campaigns. So we'll hear from the experts session not only the theoretical background, but also we'll do some hands-on, and we'll use some data through which we can understand that how this technique is used in practice. So now I request Dr. Tina Sachdeva ma'am, who is coordinator for today's session, to introduce ma'am and take it forward.
Good morning, everyone. Today we have with us Dr. Ruchi Jain Garg ma'am. She is working as an associate professor, Faculty of Management Sciences, SRMC College of Engineering and Technology, Bareilly. She is PhD from Indian Institute of Technology, Roorkee, with 19 plus years of experience in teaching and research. She is a postgraduate in both management and engineering fields. She has worked with various reputed universities and institutes pan India. She has more than 35 publications in Scopus indexed and ABDC indexed journals. She is associated with various government projects funded by United Nations Development Programme UNDP and World Bank. She is a member of the Board of Studies in various institutes. She has organized many conferences, FDPs, and workshops at national as well as international level. She has an expertise in working on outcome based education policy. She has a sound knowledge in the field of analytics and multi criteria decision making through SPSS, AMOS, expert choice, Power BI, data modeling, dashboard management, analytic hierarchy process, ISM, time series forecasting models, and so on. We welcome you, ma'am. I request you to please commence the session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Tina and Professor Soman, to give me this opportunity to start the session. So, ma'am, shall I start the session?
Yes, ma'am, you can start.
So, the topic of the today's session is modeling customer segmentation with RFM analysis. So, when we talk about the segmentation, it is a very important and a very basic concept of marketing management. And when we talk about this concept of marketing management, and initially when we talk about the present scenario or the present time, we can say that right now with the role of analytics, the marketing managers have been changed to marketing engineers. They cannot only focuses on managing the things, rather managing the data, analyzing the data, and getting the results. So today we will be discussing a very important topic when we start about the marketing management. We used to have a first and very important topic, segmentation. Second is the targeting, and third is the positioning. But today I'll be telling you how we will be segmenting the customers into different groups through analytical method, that is the RFM technique. So right now I'm sharing a presentation with you. Then after that there will be a hands-on exercises, and the data has been shared by the system in different groups, so you can do the session parallelly with me. So right now I'm sharing the session. Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So hello audience, we are starting with the topic modeling the customer segmentation with RFM analysis. So before starting with the RFM analysis, I'll be giving you a brief idea about the segmentation, how we can make the segmentation model, what are the variables in the segmentation model, how we can incorporate the RFM analysis in the segmentation, the benefits of RFM analysis, the implications of RFM analysis, and then we will be switching to the hands-on exercise with the data. So when we talk about the segmentation, what is a segmentation or what is a segment? So segmentation is a process of taxonomy where we used to divide something into small parts. We can divide market into subgroups. We can say that we are clustering or partitioning the things into small group, or we can say the subset of the market. It could be in the terms of customer market or in terms of database. So segmentation in marketing strategy, it is a method of subdividing the population into similar subgroups, or you can say markets for better targeting. When we talk about segmentation, there are three things in the segmentation. One is first is homogeneity and heterogeneity. Second is parsimony, and third is accessibility. When we talk about homogeneity as well as heterogeneity concept, these are the two different concepts, homogeneity and heterogeneity, but both the concepts are merged or important in the segmentation, because when we talk about dividing the population into subgroups, then when we talk about one group one, then different elements of that particular group are grouped in group one because they are sharing some similar characteristics. Means all the elements in group one are homogeneous with each other. That is why they are in group one. Now, if we have made few groups, group one, group two, and so on, so group one and group 2 should be heterogeneous with each other. That is the heterogeneity. So the segmentation is focusing on one of the important characteristic, that is the homogeneity as well as the heterogeneity. Second is the parsimony. Parsimony is when we are talking about the segmentation, then in the segmentation the organizations have to consider every customer as a unique target. They cannot say that this is a heavy user or this is a low user, so we will not be focusing on the low user customer. They have to consider that every customer is a unique target for the company. And third is the accessibility. When we talk about accessibility, see, when the different groups are there divided by the organization, then each and every group should be in reach of the organization, because when we talk about catering the needs and wants of every customer in every group, then that group should be in the accessible reach of the organization. That is the accessibility. So now there are some uses of segmentation. When we talk about the uses of segmentation, first is finding similar members. So when we talk about finding similar members, what it means, what is the meaning of the word finding similar members? I'm taking an example where a telecom organization is there and which are facing a problem of high attrition rate or the churning rate. Now the problem is that these churn rates or the attrition rates of different customers may be of different reasons. What are the motivation or the reasons of these churning? So when we talk about the churn rate, then first of all we have to predict this churning. So these the variables, when we talk about the variables, then there are the variables, maybe the products, not the good products or problems with any product, or the usage or the demographics or the channel preference. There may be the problem of these variables due to which the churning rate is very high for the customers. When we talk about any of the segmentation model, there are always two variables in any of the model. One is the dependent variable and other is the independent variable. When we talk about the dependent variable in the segmentation, it is known as the segmentation basis, on the basis of which we are segmenting the customers. And the variables, I can say the independent variables, which could be the demographic factors or the psychographic factors or different factors, they comes under the segmentation descriptors. So we may are having the telecommunication company may have a several segmentation descriptors or the independent variables due to which the customers are leaving the company or they are having the high churning rate. So now what the company have to do, how the company will be segmenting the customers into the high churn or the low churn. For that the company have to make a segmentation model. When we talk about segmentation, it is nothing but an improvement in the modeling. When we talk about segmentation modeling, then there is a regression analysis, and in the regression analysis there are three types of regression analysis, like simple linear regression, multilinear regression, logistic regression. There are multiple step-wise regression. So there we can make different models with different variables, and we can make a separate model with separate variable. Like I can say that if my dependent variable is a churn rate and independent variable is the reason of dropping of calls, then I can make one model for that. The other variable, independent variable, may be price plan. So it could be made with in the other like model, and similarly we can make different models and can identify the churn rate. This each model will exploit these differences and be far more accurate than otherwise. The more accurate the model, the greater the insights, greater the understanding, the more obvious the strategy to combat the churn with the organization. So this is one of the major use of the segmentation. And the third and the important is capturing the market or focusing on the market. So when we talk about from the marketing point of view, in the market, when we talk about the market segmentation or the marketing concept, the customer is the king and strategy should be customer centric. So what I can say is that one size cannot be able to fit for all the customers, which can imply that one model cannot be fit for the different variables of the churning rate of the customer. So that is why we have to do the segmentation. Now, these are the few books I have just mentioned that if you want to focus on or do the deep study on the churning rate, then we can you can go through these books. They are the analytical concepts included in the segmentation. Now, my caution against a managerial failure, that is, managers or the management is agreed, but my caution, see, before analytics, the organizations were segmenting the people into different groups, but do that thing could be applied or implied in today's scenario or not? So that is my caution. See, when we talk about, I have talked to one of the manager who were very much engaged in the segmentation design, and he has told me that how to define the segment. The things he told me was, as per my opinion, it was typically a flawed way, because he told me that in his organization, the segmentation is done on two bases. First is the knowledge of the management, and second is the intuition of the management about the market and about the customers. My advice is to go through the segmentation process, do the analytics and see what the results look like. Why it is required to use the analytical methods? Because when as a manager, I am segmenting the people into different groups on the basis of my knowledge or on the basis of my experience, then I can maximum consider 2, 3 or 4 factors or the independent variables to divide the people into different groups. But when we talk about today's scenario, it is a time of the big data. The data is in terabytes. It is in, so when we talk about the terabytes data, then how, if there are a lot of customers who are browsing the website, there are lots of customers who are daily using the Facebook, then how we can segment those customers into different groups of high users or the low users? So in this case, we can have the variables and we can segment the people. And for that, we have to use some statistical algorithms so that we can get the analytical results. Now, if after using the statistical algorithm, if the manager's point of view, could be quite different from the analytical results, then it is a very important point to be focused by that manager, that manager has a lot to learn about his own market. It means that manager is not very much about his own market, his own customers. So the statistical algorithm encourages learning. Most often managerial field is about usage. Usage is that is high, medium and low, satisfaction, net profit, etc. None of these requires much investigation into the why the results are, because when we are getting the results through analytical techniques, then we don't have to give so many reasons that why we have divided the people, because we are having a complete you can say complete data support and the data results which is giving a clear picture that why we have divided the people into different groups. So what the algorithm I will be using or the companies are using nowadays to segment the people is RFM. And when we talk about the RFM is not in the perspective of the customer, it is in the first perspective rather than the financial point of view, with metrics that are important to the firm. RFM is about designing value tiers based on the financial perspective. Now customer segmentation by RFM. Usually I have already discussed that a lot amount of data is there, a lot number of customers are there, the companies are having their browsing history, their purchasing history, their campaign response patterns, about their demographics. We are having a lot of data, but what to do with that data? So with the RFM segment, it is one of the methods to identify groups of customers, so that what the organizations can do, they can make a specific strategy for each of the segmented group so that they can enhance the customer loyalty and lifetime value. Here RFM, now I am coming to the topic RFM. So RFM means, R means recency, F means frequency and M means monetary value. What is recency? So recency, it is the time elapsed since the last purchase or transaction of the customer. It can be the last visit to the website by the customer or the last use of the mobile application and alike. In most cases, or in the other words, I can say that it is the most recent transaction of the customer. If the person has most recently purchased a product from you, they are more likely to understand, or you can say familiar with your strategies, with the and will be able to communicate more with that particular brand. That is the recency. When you talk about the frequency, how frequently the customers are purchasing from you. It is the number of times customer has transacted or interacted with the brand during a particular time period. Customers who are more frequent with are more engaged to a brand communications and more likely to be loyal towards that brand. So frequency is the number of times the customers are transacting or interacting with the organization. Third is the monetary value. What is the monetary value? This tells about how much money has been spent by a customer over a period of time. So people who spend more would be treated differently. We can say the premium customers, or people who spend less, we used to say these are the normal customers, or the premium customers, or the gold customers, or the silver customers. We can segment in this manner on the basis of RFM. So in a nutshell, I can say that recency is the date of last purchase. Frequency is average number of transactions per year. I am clearly mentioning it is the number of transactions in a certain time period, or you can say per year. And the third is the monetary value, that is the average amount purchased per year. Benefits of RFM. Why we are using this RFM technique? First of all, it helps firms predict customers who are more likely to make repeat purchases, analyze revenue due to the new customers versus the repeat customers. What I have done, what the organization have done, organization have segmented the customer into two categories, new customers as well as the repeat customer. So now with both the groups, the organization can analyze the revenue with the help of RFM. It can convert the occasional buyers into the habitual or the repeat buyers. It can address each segment of customers separately based on the RFM values, because different groups are having different RFM values. It gives a potential for optimization in current customers, current customer service, product, etc. It will save money, time and effort spent in acquisition. It can increase the retention rate, and it can help to know the customer better with analyzing their purchasing behavior. So these are few of the benefits of RFM. So these are the steps. I have shared the sheet. I have shared the Excel sheet with you, and in the step sheet, I have mentioned all these steps to calculate the values of RFM. Just I am going through the steps. First of all, collecting the data. Calculate R, that is recency, F frequency, and M the monetary value. Then finding the quartiles. Why we are finding the quartiles? Because we are talking about the specific time period for the recency value, for the frequency value, and for the monetary value. Create RFM scores based on the quartile, and finally label your customers based on the RFM score. When we talk about the implications of RFM, it is very helpful in direct market targeting. See, when we talk about direct market targeting, there are lots of mail which are going in our junk box as well as in the inbox. So again, I have to just segregate the mails on the basis of which are important for the customer going in their inboxes, or which are not important for the customers, or the promotion mails or the social mails which are going in the junk box. There is a research paper in which a neural network used to determine the Dutch charity, and with this what they have identified, what is the time of the last donation, how many donations have been made in the last 5 years, and how much money have been donated in last 5 years. So here the neural network in the Dutch charity have identified the RFM values. Next is it can be helpful in predicting. So this is the example I have taken for the logistic regression. Logistic regression is just the classification. It is making a classification model on the binary values. So where a person will be having a dependent value 1 and the independent variable 0, respond to a direct mail campaign. Often the independent variables used are recency times last purchase, frequency, how many orders placed in last year, and the monetary value, total amount of purchase in last year. So here also in the logistic regression, we can use the RFM technique to classify in a better manner. In CLV, to identify the customer lifetime value, the probability that a customer orders from a catalog depends on recency, number of catalogs since last year, and the frequency, that is the number of orders. So when we talk about this topic of modeling the customer segmentation with RFM analysis, so I hope you all got the concept that why I am using the RFM analysis to segment the customer, because this can give you a better results to segment the people into different groups. So now right now I'll be starting with the hands-on exercise and the sheet. So the people, those who are having the Excel sheet, they can open their Excel sheet so that we can parallelly practice to calculate the RFM values on the data. Okay. Ma'am, is it visible?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Okay. So here is the data. So first of all, before starting with the RFM calculation, I am again repeating the steps. collecting the data. First of all, collecting the data, and second is calculating the RFM. So this is our data. You can see the amount of data. This is the data of an organization for simple store, and the data is of approximately 10,000 customers. You can see, first of all, before starting anything in the analytics, we have to study the data, or we have to read out the data very clearly, that what we have to do, what we have to bring from the data. So road IDs, that is the discount, unit price, shipping cost, customer ID, the names of the customer, the shipping mode they have considered to deliver the product, that is regular, express air, through delivery trucks. Customer segment is like corporate, home office, small businesses. Product category like office supplies, technology, furniture, and subcategory labels, pen, paper, scissors, telephones, papers, like this. Product container, or which type of container they are using to deliver the product or packing the product. The product name, then you can see the product base margin, the region, that there are 4 regions: central, west, east, and west and central, and state and province, that is the Washington, California, New Jersey. City is mentioned, postal code is mentioned, order date is mentioned, shipping date is mentioned, profits are mentioned, quantity ordered are mentioned, sales and order ID. So this is the data. And when we talk, this is the real-time data of a superstore, and this data contains 3 sheets. First is the order sheet, second is the return sheet, that is the ordered ID, and what all orders are returned to the organization, and third is about the reason, the manager and the reasons, because I have told there are 4 reasons: central, east, south, and west. So this is the data. Now what I have to do, I have made 3 sheets also, 4 sheets also: recency, frequency, monetary, and RFM model. So first we have to calculate the recency. So or like first I'm calculating the frequency, because it is little simple to calculate. Then we will be calculating the recency and the monetary value. So for calculating the frequency, what I have to copy from this particular data sheet, first is the customer ID. I have to copy the customer ID. I'll be pasting in the frequency sheet. And when we talk about the customer ID, the second thing is the order ID I have to copy. I have ordered the order ID, and here I have copied the order. Now, before starting or before calculating the frequency, we have to see that one customer have ordered many products from one order ID. So it means there may be a repetition or the duplication of the order IDs. So first, what we have to do, first we have to remove the duplicates from the order ID, and for that in the Excel sheet I have to go on the data view, data tab, sorry, and I'll be going on remove duplicate, expand the selection. I have to check on both the columns, that is customer ID and order ID, and I'll be clicking on OK. Now you can see there are 2,306 duplicate values found and removed, and now we are having the 7,124 unique value remaining with us. So now we have to calculate the frequency. For calculating the frequency, I have to go in the Insert tab. I have to make a pivot table. Before making the pivot table, I am selecting the entire data. This is asking about the table range. I have already selected the data, and I want the result in this particular sheet. So I'll be clicking on existing worksheet. I want the results here. I'll be clicking on OK. So now this is the pivot window which has been opened. There are 2 things, customer ID and order ID. So I'll be dragging customer ID into rows and order ID into values. Now I got the sum of order ID. But when we talk about calculating the frequency, we don't require the sum of order ID. Rather than I have to find the count. So what I can do here, I can click here on the sum of order ID. There is a value field setting. I can change to count, and you can see now I got the frequency of different order IDs. I can just change the name of this particular um, heading. This is my customer ID, and this is my. So this is how we have calculated the frequency. What I can do, I can just copy it here also, the value, so that I can remove the pivot. This is how we have calculated the frequency. Now the second thing is the recency. Now I have to just calculate the recency, and for the recency I have to go to the main data sheet. I have to copy again the customer ID. I have to paste in the recency sheet. Now for the recency, definitely I need some time frame. So I have to just copy some date. And I can see where is the order. This is, you can see in the S column, we are having order date. I'll be copying the order date. I'll be pasting in the next column. Now we are having all the order dates. Now, when I was telling you about the definition of recency, I told you the most recent transaction with the organization. So I have to find out the most recent date. I can name that date as a reference date. For that, what I have to do, I have to apply the filter here. Now you can see all the years are appeared, and when we talk about the most recent transaction, definitely it will be 2013. I'll be expanding 2013. You can say the most recent or the recent purchase is done in December month, and now on which date of December? I have to check the last date. This is 31st. So my reference date is 31st December 2013. Now after finding out this reference date, what I have to do, I have to again select the data. I have to insert the pivot table. Again on the existing worksheet, I am using the pivot somewhere here. Now what I have to do, I have to drag the customer IDs into rows as I have done earlier, and order date into the values. Now here I don't want the order date, I want that in the date form. So what I can do here, I have to find out the max of date. Go to the value field settings, click on maximum. Now you got few values, but when you talk about this particular tab, these are the journal values. So what I have to do, I have to convert into the date form. Now you can see whatever the order dates are, these are appeared here, and these are the customer IDs. Now I have to find out the most recent date. So for recency, what I have to do, first of all, I have to remove the pivot. So what I have done, I have copied these values and pasted somewhere in the sheet. And in the paste, I have to do the special paste of values 1 to 3. Again, they have changed the maximum order date. So what I have to select, I have to select the short date, and it will be appear in the date format. Now I have to find out the recency, and recency is the reference date minus the max of order date. this is 582. So now you can see we got the number of values, that how in the form of the days. So when we talk about these values, now when we will be dragging, it will be changing the value. So I have to fix the reference date. I have to put a dollar sign, dollar mark, so that it will be just fixing the value of the reference date. And now I'll be dragging, and all the values for the recencies appear in the data sheet. So this is how we have calculated the recency. By the time we have calculated the frequency and the recency. Now third is the monetary value. So again go to the data sheet. Again we have to calculate the customer ID, sorry, copy the customer ID. I'll be pasting on the monetary sheet. And when we talk about the other thing, I have to copy the values of customer segment. No. I have to copy the values of sales. How much sales have been, or how much purchases or the sales have been done by the company to the per customer. So again, I have to apply the pivot. Select the data, select both the columns. Sorry, I have to go in the insert tab, select the pivot, the existing sheet. It is okay. Now customer ID is here and sum of sales is here. So we are requiring the sum of sales, so we don't have to do anything else. So by the time we have calculated the recency value, the frequency value, and the monetary value. Now what we have to do, we have to go to the RFM model. In the RFM model, what we have to do, first of all, again, I have to copy the customer IDs. Now, I'm talking about the next value which is required for me is recency, frequency, and monetary values. So for getting the value for recency, what I have to do, I can apply the VLOOKUP. The lookup value is customer ID, the table array. Now in the table array, I have to go to the recency sheet. I'll be just putting these values. I have to look the third column in the recency, because the recency values are in the third column. And if I have to go for true values or the false values, I am going for true value. For that I have to put 1, and this is. Let me do it again. Go to frequency. Here it is. I have to apply the VLOOKUP. Lookup value is this customer ID. The table array is. Okay, what is the problem here? The this row label has been converted. The customer ID has been converted into dates. That is why the problem is appearing. Okay. First of all, we have to remove the formula. I have to just convert these row labels into the general values. Now it will be taking. Again, I am applying the formula of VLOOKUP. Lookup value is 2. Table is recency, and here I have to collect all these three values. I have to check the recency at the third column 1, and now you can see the recency value is appeared in the RFM model. What I have to do, I have to just drag it down. Let me check for the frequency. What is the problem I am facing? I am a little bit stuck up. Let me check the frequency. Again, we'll be applying the VLOOKUP. And the lookup value is 2. I'll be going to the table array here, putting 2 here. Some error has been appearing. I'm not what is the error. Tanu ma'am,
Hello. Yes, ma'am.
sir, there is some issue coming. So can you take a break of 5 minutes?
Ah, sure. Not a problem.
Sure.
You can just go off cam and come back.
I can just leave. I'm just leaving. I'll be rejoining. Okay, in five
Sure.
minutes.
Sure. Sure. Sure.
Fine.
Aman, you can keep some questions ready. Till the time questions come from audience, you can keep some questions ready from your end.
So now I am again sharing the field sheet. Some error was appeared in the Excel. I hope it is visible now.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, students, we were there to calculate till the time we have calculated the recency, the frequency, and the monetary value. Now I have to go with the RFM model. So to calculate the recency, again I am using the same formula VLOOKUP. I have to look up the value for customer ID. Then the table array recency, I have selected all the values and I have to look the value which are in the third column in 1. 1 is for true approximation or the exact, I am going for the 1. And now you can see the recency value, and if I am dragging, we got the recency value, all the values here. Second is the frequency. For the frequency, I am applying the same formula VLOOKUP. Lookup value is customer ID, frequency is order ID. Now here I have to write 2 because it is in the column 2, the frequency, and 1. And here what I have to do, I have to drag all the frequency values are appeared here in the monetary.
Ma'am, can you repeat this step once again?
Frequency. And in the step again, like frequency. In the monetary. Frequency. The same formula I have done, sir.
Okay. So first is the ID, then the array,
sir,
and then the binary value.
Yes, sir. The same formula I will apply for all the 3 sheets. First of all, I have to select the lookup value. For which lookup? For customer ID, I have selected the customer ID. Now for which table, I have to go to the frequency sheet. I have to select these values because I am going with the customer ID and the order ID of the frequency. Right. Now I have to look for the second column, the values mentioned in the second column, which is the count of order ID or the frequency. So I am writing here 2 and 1 for the approximation, and I am getting the value here. Okay. It is not selecting the customer value. This is customer value, and this is customer value, frequency table range, the second value on the lookup, and the 1. And here I have to put the enter. This is the frequency. I will be repeating the same formula with the monetary also. Same formula, VLOOKUP, the same customer ID. Then I have to go to the monetary sheet. I have to select both these values. Then because I have to see the values in the second column, I am putting 2 and then 1. I got the monetary value. All the monetary values are available here. So here I have written the customer ID, the recency, the frequency, and the monetary value. Now I have to find out the quartiles because I have to fix the time period. So I am fixing the time period in the form of the quartiles. For each quartile, I have to calculate the recency, frequency, and monetary values. We are having 4 quartiles. I am mentioning Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. These are our 4 quartiles. For the recency, I have to just go to the formula of quartile. There are 3 formulas. I have to select the third one, the quartile. Now I have to select the array. Because I have to go for the recency array, so I will be selecting the value of recency, entire data range, Now, after selecting the entire data range, you can put a comma, and now there are the options available. We are talking about first quartile, which is showing the 25th percentile. So I'll be putting 1 here, and I got the values. Similarly, for the second quartile, I am again repeating the same formula. The third I have to select. I have to select the data range. Now, which quartile I have to select after putting the comma? Now I have to go for quartile 2. So I am putting quartile 2 here, and I am getting the values of quartile 2. And in the similar manner, we have to calculate the quartiles for each and everything. Quartile formula, selecting the data range of recency, and this is the fourth quartile, so I am putting comma 4 and just closing the bracket. I got all the values of recency in a particular time period of quartiles. Again, I have to calculate the values of quartiles for frequency as well as for monetary values. So for frequency, again the same formula, quartile. Now here I have to select the frequency data, the entire data range, and because I am selecting first quartile, so putting 1 here, I got the value. You can see the value. For the second quartile, selecting the entire data range, now putting 2, got the value of second quartile. For the third quartile, selecting the data range of frequency column, putting 3 here, and for the fourth quartile, so now you can see all the 4 values are appeared for the 4 quartiles in terms of frequencies. For the monetary quartile, select the data range of monetary column. First quartile, so we have to write first 1 here. For the second quartile, select the data range, comma 2. Quartile, then data range, then this is the second quartile, so I am putting 2 here. For the third quartile, so now you can see that we have divided all the values as per the time period. It could be anything. It could be you can divide on the 5 scale. I have divided in the scale of 4 in the terms of quartile 1, quartile 2, quartile 3, and quartile 4. So now after this, which step we have to cover now? I have to cover the step of that we have to calculate the scores. So I have to calculate the R score. I have to calculate the F score and M score. Now here I have written some, you can say, some criteria for finding the score. So when we talk about the score calculation, less the recency value, more will be the R score. So when we talk about these values, less will be the recency value and more will be the R score, because so I have to give 3 in the first quartile or the values between the first and the second quartile. Why? Because I am taking three ranges of customer. I am dividing the customer into premium category, gold category, and silver category, or in the four quartiles we can divide in the three values. So what I am doing, we are giving, you can see here, for giving value 3, for any value below quartile 2, we have to give R score 3. So any value below quartile 2, we have to give the R score value 3, which means how we can do? I have to apply the filter here. In the recency, I have to go to the number filters, and you can see any value below quartile 2. So if so it is less than or equal to, in the value of quartile 2, I am having 289. So I have kept 289 here, and it is okay. So what I have given, I got the values which are less than 289 in the recency column, and for the R score, I will be giving 3 in all these values. I am just classifying the customers into 1, 2, and 3. I will be copying this 3 here because these are all the values which are below 289. I have to clear the filters. Now in the second step, you can see the recency value between quartile 2 and quartile 3 will have a R score of 2. I will be again applying the number filter in the recency. Now the recency between Q3 and Q2. So here I have to select less than or equal to. In the Q3, the value between Q3 and Q2, so it will be 649.5, because the 649.5 is the value of recency in the quartile 3, and the values which are greater than 289 will be given 2. I'll copy all the values. Again, I have to clear the filter, and I have to again apply for the third value. Recency value above quartile 3 will be given R score 1. So number filter, recency value above. So I can say greater than 649.5 will be given 1. Now, like you can clear the filter, and now you can see that every value got some R score 2, 3, and 1, 1, 2, and 3. Fine. So the same steps I have to do for calculating the X score and M score, but the criteria is different. In the frequency, more will be the R score. Sorry, F score. So when we talk about the quartile 1, in the case of frequency, the values between quartile 1 and quartile 2 will be given 1. So I'll be doing for you. I'll be applying a filter in the frequency column and number filter. And now the value less than quartile 2, less than or equal to quartile 2, that is 2. All the values will be given what value? 1. Because it is opposite to the R score. Next is the values between quartile 2 and quartile 3 will be given 2. So less than equal to quartile 3 is 4, and greater than is 2. So here I will be able to giving 2, and I'm copying this. In the third case, I have to give 3 for the values. You can see the any value above Q3 will be giving the F score 3. For value
3.
4. Any value more than Q3.
Okay. Yeah.
So it is greater than 4. You can just remove the filter, and now you can see that we got the R score and F score in the similar manner. I have written the steps, and the criteria for calculating the frequency and monetary is saying that any value below Q2 will be given 1. The same criteria. So I am copying because due to the time constraint I am not calculating here. So shall I calculate or shall I copy from the sheet? Is it clear to everybody?
We can copy it.
Because it will be taking a lot of time then. So I have copied the value of M score. It is same. So now by the time I have calculated R score, F score, M score, now what I have to do, I have to calculate the value of RFM. RFM is nothing but the sum of all the scores. R score and M score. And now we can just drag it down. And we got the sum in this manner. So now these are the values of RFM. Now we have to set some criteria. Here I am setting a criteria that if RFM score is in the range of 7, 8, 9, I am giving the customer category
Ma'am, your voice is not coming. Please unmute, ma'am. Ma'am, please unmute.
Yes, done, sir.
Yeah, now you are audible.
So till F score, R score, and M score, the voice was there.
Yeah, we.
Yes, ma'am. Now we can.
Ma'am, now we can hear you.
Everybody's understood that how to calculate R score, F score, and M score.
Yes, ma'am.
Now in the RFM, what we have done, we have just done nothing but the sum of all these score, R score, F score, and M score. And you can see 2 plus 1 plus 1 is 4. 3 plus 2 plus 3 is 8. Fine. So this is the value of the RFM. Now I have to now segment my customer. So for segmenting, what I have done, I have just decided some criteria. You can see the criteria here for the customer segment. If the RFM score is 7, 8, 9, it is premium customer. 5, 6, it is gold customer, and 3, 4, it is silver customer. So when we talk about this customer segment, I have to do the customer segment. I have to apply an RFM filter. So for 7, 8, 9, I have to deselect everything. I have to only select the 7, 8, and 9 values. And what I will be giving the value here? Premium customer. the values, the RFM score having 7, 8, 9, I have classified as a premium customer. So there are lots of premium customers of the organization which are having the value of 7, 8 and 9. You can see. So I have to put premium. Now I have to again deselect all the values, and I am saying that the customer, the RFM score 5 and 6 will be my gold customers. And the value 3 and 4 are my silver customers.
Silver customers.
So this is, now you can see we have divided the customers into the customer segment. Now what I have to do the next, I have to find out the what is the percentage of my gold customer, silver customer and the premium customer. So first of all I have to see the total. You can see the number. So for the premium customers, I have to again deselect. I'm 7, 8, 9, and you can see in the right side, in the left side of the sheet, there is coming 915 of 2704. So what it is showing, the number of premium customers are 915 and the total is 2704. So I will be writing 915 are my premium customers. For 5 and 6. Now again you can see in the left hand side 909 are my gold customer out of 2704. That is 909, and last is the silver customer, and you can see the value 879. And total is my 2704. So now when we talk about the percentage, the simple formula we can apply this upon total. This divided by total. So this is the final value, final percentage. So we can see we are having, these are the number of premium, gold and silver customers, and this is the percentage that 34% customers are in the premium category, 34% customers are in the gold category, and 33% customers are in the silver category. So that's all for today's class. I hope you all have understood how to calculate the RFM values. But when we talk about this process, this is little tedious because calculating, dragging, pasting R value, F value, M value, then calculating the R score, F score, and M score, then adding, and then there are so many steps. So what is the what are the like simpler methods which are requiring a very less number of steps is we can find out through SQL, through Python, through our language. We can use the script, these languages. We have to just put the coding, and we don't have to do this exercise again and again. But for the basic concept of RFM, we have to start with the Excel. By this, we can able to understand, because in the coding we are just getting the output. We are unable to understand what is a real basic calculation between every value. So from the Excel, you can able to identify the understand the real basic calculation behind each and every score and each and every value. Thank you from my side. Any questions?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for this elaborative session. Now, Aman is here as our student representative. I would request Aman to post questions from his personal front if he has any, and then he can club the similar questions and can ask ma'am for the sake of time.
Sure, sir.
Yes,
Thank
Aman,
you so
if
much,
any
sir.
question.
And thank you so much, ma'am, for the wonderful session. I have also a couple of questions. Like, it's the same supermarket if we are running in a rural area. Okay. So, what is the mode? What is the mode of collecting data through? Like, the data you have, which you collected through, might be this is through Tally or ERP system. Like, you can understand what I'm saying, what I'm coming from. But what if the same store we are running in rural market, but we do not have a better technology, better ERP? So how we can collect the data through in the practical
See,
manner, real manner?
data collection is not the part of this particular session, because first of all we have collected the data. Data collection could be in any form. It could be with the help of the survey method or the questionnaire method or anything. If you're talking about the real time data, definitely the organization, though they may be in the rural area, but they are just if I'm saying that they are having no technology, but they are copying something in the registers or some in the books. So from that we can collect. We can just transmit that data into the Excel sheet, and then we can apply this. Because definitely there are so many ways to collect the data. But in the rural, see, everybody is having some billing system or some record keeping system, so that we can get from there.
Okay, well, okay. Thank you so much. And other than this, ma'am, what is the concept of R score and F score and M score? Can you refocus again, because we have some
See, it will be a
doubt.
now it will be a very lengthy session, because then I have to go in the deep of M score, R score, and F score. So because it is a basic
The
concept.
basic.
Huh. See, when we talk about the recency, so we are talking about the most recent purchase, and that is why we are giving the maximum value. We are going in the recency only. We are going from the last to the first, most recent transaction to the last transaction. So that is why we are giving the score third. And this score, this is not a fixed score. We can change this score with the scales. If I am taking a scale of 5 point, here I have taken the scale of 4 point in the terms of 4 quarters. So I have categorized in the 3 category. But if I have taken the scale of 5 point, then I could have categorized into the 4 category. It is not only that I have to categorize in the premium or the gold or the silver. It could be in any form. It could be like if I am saying that I am the fourth category may be the normal category customer, or you can say the less biased customer category. So here, but what the thing we have to do in the recency, we have to go from the backside that which is having the most recent transaction will be giving the value 4, and in the descending order, and in the other two, the frequency and in the monetary, we are not going in any direction, because whatever the number of purchases, that is the frequency, so it could be given 1, and when what is the amount they have spent, it is given 1. So this is the concept of F score, R score, and L score. Basically, we are categorizing in these scores, but only in the recency we have to go in the descending order.
Okay, ma'am. Great, ma'am. Thank you so much. Ma'am, it is mandatory to divide into quartiles, like we can divide into yearly or half yearly.
I told you na, this is my thing that because through the Excel, I can able to divide into Excel in the quartiles. You can go for, if you are going for 5 categories, it could be first maybe 20%, 40%, 60%, 80%, and 100%. It is about the number of classifications the organizations are asking about the customers. If I want 6 classifications, then I have to divide into 7 time periods.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. This is from all my side. Thank you so much.
I hope you understood how to calculate the RFM values.
Yes, ma'am. That we got.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. That's all.
Ma'am, there is a question put up by Vaishnavi. Which model is best for customer segmentation? I think there is nothing called
best. You can go for logistic regression.
Logistic regression.
Logistic regression, because that is a classification model in which we are categorizing on the binary values. So through the logistic regression, and you can do the logistic, which I felt that it is more simple to do the logistic regression by using the SAS. SAS is the structure, that is the statistical analysis software, and with the small codings, with you can see with the 2-liner code, we can get the output of the logistic regression. So logistic regression will be the best to categorize the customers.
Right. I think other questions are mostly similar, so we'll skip those. There is a question I think which you have answered already, but for the sake of generalization, you can take it. Where can you use the customer segmentation model, or which are the areas where you can use customer segmentation model?
Anywhere, anywhere. I have given it the example that if I have to categorize my mails, I'm not talking about customers. How many junk mails are there? How many mails are going in the junk box or in the inbox? That is also a segmentation. I can find out that who all are the non-users of my product. I can say they are some people are non-users because they are not having the money. They are having the money issue. They are the technology muddlers. They are little fearful to attempt. So here we can categorize in this manner also. And see, anywhere we want to segment, and segmentation is very much required, because as an organization I cannot able to cater the needs of every customer. So first of all, I have to find out the segment. I have to do the segmentation, and after that I have to do the targeting, that to which segment I have to target. See, I'm giving a very small example for targeting, that if any organization is making a male's perfume, then who will be the target customer? Aman, can you answer me?
Yes, ma'am. Young generation mainly.
Males or females?
Oh, ma'am, males mainly.
Mainly males. But most of the females are also purchasing the perfume to gift to their to the males.
To the male, to the friends.
To the father, anybody. So you cannot put the target customers are only the males, but with the females also. So when you talk about this targeting, the segmentation is the basis to divide the market or the population into sub-markets, and then the organization have to target. Suppose I have divided into rural customer, urban customer, and the metro customer. This is also a way to segment the customer, and my product is a highly technical product, and I am targeting to the urban customers or the metro customers. It is my choice.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. So, like, there are businesses where sometimes, Pareto's model is applied, 20% customers giving 80% of business.
Yes, sir.
And there are some businesses where it's highly volume driven. There are some businesses where it is value driven. And also, normally, what happens, like, businesses prefer or track customers who have done recent purchases. They can be targeted easily, and they can be easy customers to preach with, and
Yes,
accordingly
sir.
the strategies can be developed. So there is no one way in which segmentation can be applied. I think there can be multiple ways in which segmentation can be applied. And I also think I'm not from marketing, I'm from finance field, so I think there is a financial perspective also. By doing these analytics, companies also find out, like, they have a very good idea as to which are the target customers and where they should spend more in terms of their advertising or marketing campaigns, and where they should spend less, so it should give them
Yes.
targeted results also.
See, if I am categorizing my customer into the repeat customer and the new customer, for the repeat customer, I could spend a less in advertising because they are already a loyal customer for my organization. Then why to spend a huge amount of money to just attract that customer, because that is a repeat customer and he or she is coming again and again to purchase to my organization. So here I can spend a more amount of money to attract the new customers. So anything else, sir?
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the wonderful session. Now, I would request Ashish Mishra sir to present both the slides.
Sir, you are not audible.
Hello, am I audible, sir?
Yes.
Yes, now
Yes,
now you are.
Okay, okay. So, good morning to all of you. I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our guest, Dr. Ruchi Jain Garg ma'am, for taking out time from your busy schedule and addressing our students. Your guidance about RFM and the practical implementation, it will definitely help to have a better understanding of this model. So thank you, ma'am. I would like to thank our HOD sir, respected Professor Suman Mitra sir, for giving this opportunity for organizing the session. I would like to thank Madhu ma'am and technical team for giving all the required support. I would like to thank students and faculty members also for being a good listener. So thanks everyone. Thanks, ma'am.
So
Thank you,
thank you,
ma'am.
sir. Thank you, sister, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you so much, sir,
we,
to
we
connecting
are
me with
honored.
you.
We are honored to have you here, and I would definitely say that we would look forward to many more events in the future, maybe in some different modes, physical modes, so that our students are benefited at large, as well.
Sir, you are you are muted. You are not audible, sir.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so
Yes.
sorry. I'm so thankful to Ruchi ma'am for accepting our request at a very short notice, and consenting to give this presentation and today's session. It was wonderful. We look forward to few more fruitful sessions in the future, maybe in different formats, maybe in some in physical forms or some workshops. and we all look forward to hearing from you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you
Thank
once
you.
again from the Cystic fraternity. Have a good day.
Thank,
Thank you
thank
so
Thank you
much,
so much,
sir.
ma'am. Really, thank you so much, ma'am.
We
thank
thank
you,
all the
Aman. Thank you,
viewers.
Madhu ma'am.
We thank all
Pardon,
the
sir?
viewers for their
Yes.
patient hearing, and I believe it had been an interactive session. Thank you so much. Thanks to all of you.
Thank
Have
you.
a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank
Thank you, teachers.
Thank you. So shall I leave?
Sure, ma'am.
Thank you.